Hello and welcome to this video. I'm particularly excited to be doing this one because Royal Talens UK have sent me a whole bundle of art supplies for me to try out, demonstrate and show you what can be achieved. And I'm going to begin with the Ecoline Brush Pens and the Ecoline watercolour paper, just because they kind of marry together quite nicely, as the Ecoline Brush Pens are quite big. So they're good for big lettering, and the Ecoline watercolour pad is large enough to accommodate that. So the pad is A3. I would say it's much more like card. It's quite thick. One of the most common questions from my workshop students is what paper to use if you're doing a piece that is going to be special. And with brush pens, you need to keep the paper quite smooth. But this watercolour paper has a texture to it, but it doesn't feel rough, so the paper will be thick enough to hold any extra inks or waters I choose to add to my blending technique that I'm going to show you. One of my favourite techniques is to blend, and it's partly because it's just so simple to do and so effective. These Ecoline brush pens are perfect for it because they are very vibrant in colour, but also they're very what we call juicy, which means they have a lot of pigment that kind of comes out when you push down on the brush. I'm going to dip into different inks with the brush pen. That's how I'm going to blend. Now, if you'd like to buy the Ecoline watercolour pad or the set of pens, you can. I've put a link below in the description. This set I have is of 10 colours. So you've got a black, mustard yellow, kind of turquoisey blue, a green, purple, a magenta, a red, an orange, and a bright yellow. So I've picked a quote and I am going to turn it into a piece of artwork using the Ecoline brush pens and the Ecoline watercolour pad. So come along, let's do it. I'm going to be dipping the pens into inks. Doing that gives a paint-like effect, and I'm using Ecoline inks and my own calligraphy inks which I've developed. Have the different coloured inks that you think you'd like to use and do test runs. Dip straight into the different coloured inks and see how those colours blend with the brush pen colour. As long as you use a water-based ink, the brush pen can be washed off and it will return to its original colour. Have a play around with which colour combinations work and keep that to hand for when you're doing the final piece as a reference. So these tests are certainly worth doing before you start on your final piece, as not all colour combinations work. So it's better to discover that now than on your final artwork. You can see how fast the pen is returning to its original blue with just a dip into some water. It creates this tonal effect that I love. The ink colour is strongest at first, and then the original colour of the brush pen returns as you write. The yellow brush pen is amazing for this technique. You get all sorts of things happening. Eventually it will stain the brush pen, but for a long time the tip can be rinsed off and it returns to the original yellow. So if I now write with the washed tip and then show you something that's worth knowing, if you pull out your frayed or discoloured tip and flip it around, both ends of that filament are formed into brush shape, so you double the life of your pen by doing it. You can push the old tip into the pen and use the new one. Compare the original yellow with the washed yellow. There's not much in it, and actually the washed tip will go back to that stronger yellow as the colour inside the pen travels back through to the tip. Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. It's by Laozi, an ancient Chinese philosopher and writer. I know the style I want to use, so I need to design the composition. I've got my key word, nature, being the main focus, and I'm looking at how the rest of the words might fit around it. And I find it easier to look at the words as if they were a pattern. So I'm going to draw it out to the scale I want the piece to actually be. I'm still working quickly. I'm not yet thinking of the blending of colours. I'm just working out the composition at this point. So now this is where I grab a light pad. It shines light through from underneath, which lets me work over the sketch using a black brush pen so I can add thick and thins. I'm looking for the words to slot into each other and together make a shape that's balanced on the page. All this is happening in rough until I think I have something. This is the Ecoline watercolour pad because the sheets are glued. So you just pull a sheet out, I can just pop it straight into a frame. Despite its thickness, I can just about see through using the light pad. If I wasn't filming, I'd go into a darker room and then I'd see much better. This is where I'm going to concentrate on my colour. So just as I was thinking of the balance of the composition, I'm now looking at the balance of the colour across the piece. And it is here that I can demonstrate why you should always use a guard sheet. Yet I've smudged it. When this happens, you can use acrylic white ink and go over it as you would with Tipp-Ex, but I'm going to take this opportunity to redo the piece and make some changes that I think will improve it. I work over the top with black so I can use this piece as a guide for my next attempt. Having done the whole thing has shown me where there are bits I don't think work quite so well. And this time I use a guard sheet, which is simply a piece of paper or a card that I keep under the pad of my hand. And as long as you don't push it over the surface of your piece, it will protect the lettering that you've already done from being smudged. I can go back and build up colour layers to emphasise or change the colour of a letter. But take care not to smudge the work you've already done. So there it is. You can turn brush pens into watercolours and blend them really easily. The card in this pad is 290 GSM, which is a great thickness for this kind of project because you can work with a light pad, but it's also sturdy enough to pop in a frame. Come from Instagram, you may well have seen that we're running a competition where we are giving one lucky winner the Ecoline watercolour pad, the Ecoline brush pens. We are also including the artwork that I've done in this video today. On Sunday the 5th of July we will announce the winner and direct message you so that we can send you your goodies. So to be in with a chance of winning, all you must do is subscribe to our YouTube channel, like this video and pop your Instagram handle in the comments below. For UK only, I hope you've enjoyed watching me creating a piece of artwork with brush pens. I'll see you next time.